Let's talk about it. Y'all ready for this reaction? Reaction. If you guys want to see this tang, I need you to drop a motherfucking irons in the chat, bitter.
Of geography, which
hold the hell up. By the way, you saw Angle Count 2.0. 99999. But I definitely will watch that. Angle Camp. I'm pretty sure Hungriger Hugo is gonna make some videos on that, so it'll be nice. Y'all ready for it? Irons in the chat, and then we're gonna like check this out and see how hard he dunks on Germany's borders. I want to see this. 3, 2. Oh, we just need 2 more irons. 2 mehr Eins bitte. 2 mehr Eins bitte, 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 bitte. Oh, okay, there. Los geht's.
Hello, I'm Cat and welcome back to the second channel geography video. This is everyone's favorite series where I talk about geography and the world and stuff. And today I want to talk about one of the most interesting parts of geography, which has been a while since we spoke about on the channel, but it is borders. So as I've said before, the reason borders fascinate me so much is because I live on an island where there are no physical land borders where you just cross magically into another country.
Is he in Ireland or is he in the UK?
Just, you know, as if it's on land, like, oh yeah.
Wait, UK is a peninsula.
I just walked across the street and I'm in a different country. That fascinates me so much, and it really fascinates me that Germany, this country over here, has 9 separate borders, which means they have all these different border crossing points of all these countries around them. You know, that's such a, headache to think about even conceptually, and then you realize that each of those borders has been drawn over hundreds of years and they exist in really weird places. Like a straight line border you can just about conceptualize, but a border along like a natural, like a border like a mountain range or a river almost just about makes sense. But when they're in the case of Germany, almost all these borders are kind of artificial for the most part, and they're just like, oh yeah, we had to draw it that way. So Germany has some of the weirdest borders, and as a consequence, Germany's one of the weirdest shaped countries, and I wanted to go through each of Germany's 9 borders with each of the 9 countries around it and talk a little bit about them in today's videos. That's
cool. That's pretty cool. Let's see how weird these borders are. You are zoomed in. Oh, am I zoomed in? Hold on. Am I zoomed in? No, I'm not zoomed in. Now I'm zoomed in. I'm not zoomed in. Huh.
So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. So again, because there's so many fascinating like enclaves, exclaves, weird like geography mishaps and like just confusion.
No, the video's not zoomed in either.
But let's go straight into the German Netherlands border. It's a fairly simple one. Like it.
The video is zoomed in. No, it's not. I can't zoom in this video. I can't. This is the video itself. I didn't zoom in.
Again, it's really in and out. You can see right here. It's like in, out, in, out, in, out. It's a bit all over the place. And also it begins all the way up here on this island. Germany did really well in that Borkum is a part of Germany and not the Netherlands. Again, so the border looks like it's like going evenly there, but it cuts a little bit around in Germany's favor.
What the hell? That's weird.
And also you can see right here the exact opposite thing happens in the Netherlands with this little village over here belonging to the Netherlands because Dutch people live there, so you don't want it to be a part of Germany anyway. Yeah. So yeah, this is a Dutch village, and you might think this is an entirely fine reason to like make the border go out. I mean, it looks really weird, but that's a fine thing. But if you actually look right here, the motorway, so this is a Dutch motorway that turns into a German autobahn. The motorway is entirely in the Netherlands. However, if you look at the little service station on the side here, that's actually in Germany, and there's a police station from Germany too.
The fuck? So y'all got a police station and an auto repair shop that's German in the Netherlands.
There's a German chain of stuff. There's a German chain of food right there, which means what you can actually do is you can. I don't think that's a German chain there, but my point being is you can actually turn off this motorway. Which, by the way, you're in a Dutch motorway just over here until you take a right turn, and then you enter Germany. You are now in Deutschland, and their laws apply to you. While you fill up your gas, you get a different price here than you would at a Dutch.
He's speaking very fast. This guy, I think this guy did some Adderall, bro. This guy's talking fast as hell, bro. My man is off the. That dude's rolling off the Addy pill, bro.
Because you're in Lower Saxony and you're not in Netherlands anymore. I think that's fascinating, and maybe you might agree. But yeah, basically, just a weird little point going on. Bro,
slow down.
And again, the rest of their border is kind of arbitrary. It's one of the more recently redrawn borders. Because at the end of World War II, the Dutch were really upset that they got invaded despite being fairly neutral. So they're like, you know what, give us some land, Germany. And they took some land, but then the Germans bought it back in like, 1966. So this is only a 50-year-old border, like to have it finally finalized in its exact form. And it's really weird weird result of that, just like towns going one way, towns going the other, and at least this very strange situation with just a non-stop array of like ins and outs and weird stuff that doesn't necessarily make too much sense, but clearly has some tactical purpose. And that includes this place right here. So this is Maastricht. Again, there's a famous treaty from here, so you might recognize the name of that. It's just this little bit of the Netherlands, which is like sandwiched in between Germany and Belgium. Speaking of being sandwiched in between Germany and Belgium, there is actually this fun trade point right here. It's the Aachen trade point between Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. So this is where all three countries meet.
How is he tracking all this?
There are a surprising number of these in the world, and it's one of the few ones you can visit pretty easily. So again, I went there. You might recognize if you've been subscribed to the channel for a long time. I did a video. It was like 7 fun facts about Germany, maybe, but I made a video here at the Troy point. You can see just over, it's in the distance somewhere, but oh, there it is. It's just over there. You can barely see it, but it's a point where you can literally step across from Germany to Belgium to the Netherlands because they're all in the Schengen area. It doesn't like, there's no border checking point,
fuck?
But still, it's crazy that there's a Troy point border you can visit. It's perhaps the easiest one to visit in the world because you just have to go from Aachen.
God, bro, he said like 1,000 words in 3 minutes. You were there, it's beautiful. Oh, it looks pretty nice.
On a bus, do a bit of a walk, and then there's a little labyrinth for you to play around with too. So yeah, there you go, one of the first trade points, and that brings us nicely into the second border that Germany has, which is Germany and the Belgium's border. So again, you might be like, well, I mean, that gas station thing's interesting, but this next thing is like the next weird level. So Germany-Belgium's border is fairly, it's about the same as the Netherlands, until you realize that, wait, this bit here just belongs to Germany.
I am speed. Okay.
Explanation of this online, like, why is that the case? And you might think, oh yeah, well, something from Germany exists there. But no, there's no German village. There's a little road, which again, it does it crosses over through Germany for some reason. It's weird. And if you look on Google Maps, you can see it's just a forest. Germany just owns this random bit of forest that would otherwise be Belgian, and there's just no questions raised about that. Apparently, I don't.
Most crazy border is the Vinbahn railway border between Germany and Belgium. Yeah, I gotta see that shit.
It, but that's a thing that exists right there. And then also you can see it goes weirdly out here too. But basically, German-Belgian border's pretty normal until you get to this point right here. So
that's exactly what you were talking about.
It's called the Venbahn or
Yep, you literally said the Vinbahn.
Weg in Belgium. But this is basically a little bit of pathway which stretches between Germany and itself, and basically creates German exclaves. So basically, as you can see right here, this part of Germany is separated from this part of Germany by a stretch this big. You can see just how small it is. In fact, let's give you the exact distance, like show you on screen. It is 35 meters across. A little bit of Belgium separates Germany from itself for about 7 or 8 kilometers, as you can see right here. It's
put a beat on his voice. That could be good. Yo, facts. This guy probably sounds like a demon when he starts rapping, bro. Like
that exists that way, and you might think, oh, that makes sense because there's a train running through there or like a road or something. But no, that's not the case anymore. So at one point there was a train running through there, and it was like a Prussian State Railways train. So it went through there and did its business. And because the Belgians took it over, but the Germans wanted their land, they came to a compromise essentially where Belgium could keep the railway and keep it being on their territory, and Germany would keep the land around it. And even though they got rid of the train service in about 2001. So 16 years ago, even though they got rid of the train service 16 years ago, they've kept the border as it was then, and at least this very bizarre situation where Germany has these practical exclaves. Again, look at the size of these things. This one house, which is just on the wrong side of the border, because of this weird situation where, again, the railway belonged to Belgium, and the country kept the land that it was on. But now it's a nice little pathway where if you don't want to go to Germany, you can walk through it and around it and stuff, and I think that's kind of weird, but it's a thing you can do.
I wonder how they split this border situation up. Like, literally, I don't know how they split this up, but this is definitely a weird-ass border.
So that's the Venbahn, the border between Germany and Belgium. It just has so many weird bits. Look at this. There's so many exclaves of Germany just because of this one thing, where you have to, like, cross a road to get back. You have to temporarily go into Belgium just to go back to Germany. And it's not a big problem because they're on friendly terms, but it's a really weird international border situation. It's one of the weirdest in the world. Look at this. Like,
what the fuck, bro? I feel like somebody was drunk when they drew this border, bro. Like, that's literally what it was. Oh, Second World War. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Best in the world, and it's something I figured I'd mention just here. So yeah, with that said, let's go. Also, by the way, the border gets to its closest point just over here. A lot of places mistakenly say this is again, it's a point where it closes.
Germany
the gap,
is different in many ways, and most of
it's
it's not in the good. Oh, damn.
between Germany and Germany again, which is it's insane, but it gets better than that later. Don't worry. So yeah, that's the German-Belgian border. I can't really like wow you more than that. Besides being like, wow, look, it follows a road pretty closely. The Germans built a road just on their side of the border. Isn't that nice of them? Until you reach the tri-point border of Germany, Belgium, and Luxembourg. So Germany, Belgium, and Luxembourg found just over here. So this is a tri-point border of no particular interest. Like it's in a river, so you can't go visit it. Although if you wanted to swim in the river, you could swim from one side to the other. You know, I'm just saying it's a thing you could do. The Germany-Luxembourg border is one of the easiest ones to like look at and say, well, that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it goes because I mean, it's literally like going on along the water line right here. It makes sense. Bro, you see dicks everywhere? How the fuck do you see that shit?
But it follows the river I don't know how you say that.
Maybe. I guess
it follows the river pretty, consistently, as you can see. Besides a few points, but like, if you look at it mostly, it follows the river really, really consistently until it reaches this point here, where, as you can see, it just decides, actually, Luxembourg, we
swim
can
in a circle
too,
and then switch between them. Oh,
if you
facts.
All the way down, it actually reaches the village of Schengen eventually. So the Schengen village is famous because it's the birthplace of the Schengen Treaty. The Schengen Treaty created the Schengen area, which is the reason that if you ever go to Europe, or if you're in Europe, you never have to cross a border from any of these countries to any of the other ones, because they're all inside the same border area.
Oh shit, that makes sense. That's why you're able to travel to Prague and Brussels and Amsterdam and Netherlands without any fucking like hassle. I was wondering about that. I'm like, don't y'all gotta go through customs and shit? Like, what the fuck? That's crazy. That's so crazy.
If you visit Switzerland and you're not from the European area, you'll get a Schengen visa. If you visit France, you'll get a Schengen visa.
So do I need a Schengen? Is my U.S. visa good enough to just travel from country to country, or do I actually need a Schengen visa? Do I need a Schengen visa? That's not completely right. For example, Swiss is Schengen but not in the EU. So could I drive to any of those nearby countries with just my U.S. like passport? Or nah. Like, if they pull me over, I'm like, brah, I'm from the USA. And they're like, we don't care. I think yes, but I don't know. All right, that's a fair answer.
All one essentially bordered area.
I think you might need a Schengen visa.
But that was all formed right here, where diplomats from France, Luxembourg, and European diplomats, but they all went on a boat into the tri-point border, and they signed the treaty with a little bit of the boat on one part of the boat being on each side of the border. And I thought that was a nice little detail. They signed the treaty in the little village of Schengen, and that made the Schengen Treaty. So personally, I would have picked like a border, like one that you could visit on land, but they wanted a boat, so they did it in Schengen. So the German-France border is like, ooh, yeah, that's it's actually surprisingly unnotable. Like this part of France right here was traditionally like exchanging hands back between France and Germany. Damn. So there's a particularly, I think it's the village of Colmar, or the town of Colmar. They speak a surprising amount of they speak a surprising dialect of French that sounds a lot like German, but you can't understand it supposedly. They speak this really weird, like crossover where it's like at some point there were clearly Germans there, but they turned into French people, but weirdly.
Damn.
And yeah, that's a fun fact you might not have known. And yeah, for the most part, the border between France and Germany, it's fairly easy going now. They haven't invaded each other in like at least 60 years last time I checked. So
that's cool. That's refreshing. No invasions.
Years, I guess, since I last checked. So that's all you need to know. It follows the Rhine River too, by the way, and that seems to keep things just about under control. Again, nice easy border until you reach Switzerland. So the Switzerland border, the Switzerland, French, and German border, the point where all three of those convene, is actually quite interesting because it happens near the town of...
How he's saying Schengen. City.
It's actually a full-on like... It's one of the largest cities in Switzerland, near the city of Basel, which means that, as you can see, one side of the river's in France, then there's some Germany over here, then there's some Switzerland over there, and at this point, if you were in a boat, then officially you'd be in all three countries, which is a fun fact. So
that's pretty fucking cool, man. These borders are definitely like all over the place, and like I said, I guess there's no explanation. Well, there are for some of them, like as to why they're structured like that, but then some of them it's just like, bro, what was the logic behind this, man? Like this is very insane. Markai says, it sounds Chinese the way he says it. Yeah, it's true. James, I feel like the U.S. passport is good enough for all Europe, but you should double check it. Yeah, I definitely will, because I don't want to get caught lacking out there in Deutschland. Like, I got arrested.
So
not clickbait.
You actually do sometimes go through some some border checkpoints, they just have to look at your passport, go, oh, okay, that's fine, and then they can do that officially, because I'm not entirely sure how their like treaties work, but that's how it works out. Let me just tell you that much. And yeah, just bear in mind that that's, as you can see, the Switzerland border right here. And it's kind of interesting because the airport over here, this is Europort, Basel, Mulhouse, Freiburg. It's actually an airport for all three countries because the Basel metropolitan area, like, so the Basel, you know, like S-Bahn and transport network actually goes into France, it goes into Germany, it goes, again, it's a tri-country network, and their airport is actually for all three countries. It's a, you know, it's an airport which mostly serves Switzerland and Germany, which is located in France. And I think that's a cool fact, and you might end up going there if you ever fly to Basel Airport. It's a very cheap airport to go to, which is something
zooming in is a bit
like
of annoying, a bit annoying.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah,
like
same.
low-cost airlines, and that is the Euro Airport, Basel, Mulhouse, Freiburg, because it's for Basel, it's for Mulhouse, and it's for Freiburg, which is all the way up there, if I'm not mistaken, which isn't really a good airport.
This guy, I don't know how he knows all this. This guy's a fucking genius, bro. He's genius.
But still, it's technically a border airport. So with that said, as you can see, the Rhine River is actually used for Germany-Switzerland's border like 4 separate times. Again, this is the fun one in my opinion. This is where things just go off the rails because Germany and German Switzerland have like a fairly close-ish relationship. I don't want to say it's like perfectly close, but they had a close-ish relationship over the deep history of like hundreds to thousands of years. Well, Switzerland hasn't been around for thousands of years. But my point being is they have a closest relationship because they were both German. You should understand the point because this is German Switzerland, this is Germany. So the Rhine River is the border point, and then there's just some weird juts in and out. So as you can see, this belongs to Switzerland. It just like stops following the Rhine River, goes back onto the Rhine River, follows it really closely, then goes back into Switzerland where they just take all of this, then goes back along the Rhine River, then goes into this weird like, again, as you can see right here, this is actually another German enclave or exclave. So it's a part of Germany. It's surrounded entirely by Switzerland. And the weird thing about this, it's Bussingham on Hochreim, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry for butchering your town name. If you but, basically, this is a German German town which exists inside Switzerland, and basically because it's inside Switzerland and there's no practical way to get to Germany without having to drive through Switzerland, there's a lot of really weird like extra rules that apply here, such as the fact that like Swiss police have to outnumber the local police by like some amount. The rules that are followed here are mostly Swiss laws. Again, it's technically German laws, but like the Swiss police somewhat enforce them. They use the Swiss currency, the Swiss franc, instead of the euro here. It's inside the Swiss customs area, so you have to get customs checked theoretically when you go here.
Damn.
Basically, it's a village of just it's a town of 1,419 people, which is
that's not a lot of people at all.
A whole bunch of issues between Germany and Switzerland, and Germany's holding on to it. And they even actually, the funny thing is they had a referendum here on like going back and being owned by Switzerland, and I think the people even voted yes. But then Switzerland were like, we have nothing to offer you in return to Germany.
Bro, he studied the fuck out of these goddamn borders. How the hell did he get all that from just looking at the picture, bro? What the hell?
About that.
I would have never known.
It's just like, the countries, they just agree.
He's really good at
how
retaining
it is,
information
because
I couldn't remember half of that.
And this is the mess of a border they have between Germany and Switzerland. So also kind of fascinating to me is the fact that going through this area, so again it like cuts through this like mess of a place. There is actually a railway, so it's actually again it's Zurich's S-Bahn. So their S-Bahn, it's not quite the equivalent of like this New York subway or the London Underground or the Moscow Metro, whatever metro system you're picturing, because S-Bahn's a little bit different. It's like regional railways, but they're like, again, they're like, their commuter railways for Zurich actually go through Switzerland and then into Germany and then back into Switzerland and then back into Germany. If I'm not mistaken, they end just over here somewhere.
The transfers are taking place.
But as you can see, this is a Zurich S-Bahn train. Again, they go to and from Zurich on like a 50-minute interval or something, and it goes through Switzerland into Germany, into Switzerland, and back into Germany again. And that's a fun fact you might not have known. And with that said, let's move on to that from the Germany-Swiss-Austrian border, so the border between those 3 countries. And again, you might think this must be the easiest try point in the world, but it's actually one of the most confusing borders in the world. What if I said that 3 countries could not agree on where their border was?
Jesus,
and you'd be
of
like,
course.
That's going to cause some wars or something. But no, it's Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, and they have this huge lake. It's Lake Constance.
Bodensee.
It's called the Bodensee here on the map, but it's called Lake Constance, and it's this huge lake over here. And basically, Switzerland. So there's 3 countries, as you can see. Here is where the Germany-Austria border is. Here's the Austria-Switzerland border, and here is the German-Switzerland border. So you might think that just over here, if we like mark a magic point, that would be the tri-point border, and that's just done with, right? This is Switzerland's lake, and that's Austria's lake, and that's Germany's lake. But actually, Switzerland agrees. Switzerland thinks this. Like clearly, Switzerland must have clearly marked landmark boundary is but the thing is even though that's agreed on by Switzerland, Austria thinks
What's
this is
up,
a
John,
condominium.
man?
A condominium is roughly
Switzerland is super expensive. Yeah, I heard. Switzerland's nothing to play around with, man. You got to go there if you got some money bags. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like, I mean, it's beautiful. It is. From what I've seen, it is very beautiful. But is it worth the money, bro? I don't know about all that. Like, the mountains are breathtaking. Would I do it? Probably. I don't know. I mean, what should I make a trip out to Switzerland too? Like,
a country.
I haven't even gone to Germany
the
yet.
lake would be owned by all three countries simultaneously, as like like a nature thing. Like they're not going to interfere with it. And then Germany has this ambiguous stance, which changes from time to time, where they're like, how about we just decide it on a case by case basis? So all three countries have different opinions about what this lake means to them, and as a result, it's one of the few points on Earth where there should be a border, but all three countries just go, we can't decide.
Bro,
Sorry.
this guy said if this guy dies one day, you have to kill his mouth separately. Oh my god, this guy is an autopilot. If this dude won the speedrunning dating cup, this dude won the speed dating cup down in Alabama in 2012. Yo, oh my god.
And I think that's fascinating. And yeah, that's something that you might not have known. In fact, I had a comment. I mentioned this in a previous video. Someone was like, I did not believe you on that toy cat. Why would you make up a story? But I looked it up, and it's true. And if you don't believe that, because again, it sounds ridiculous, I wouldn't believe someone if they told
I believe
me.
it all,
Look
dog.
it up
You
if
have
want to.
this
Lake
man
Constance,
gave me
the borders
7 years of my high school. No, that's just your high. 7 years of high school and college education. And what, 15 minutes so far,
ambiguous,
bro?
not agreed by the three countries, and it's just not an issue because it's Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and they get along these days, as it turns out. So yeah. Also, by the way, this lake, the ambiguous lake border, is larger than Liechtenstein just over here, and I'm just saying that's kind of impressive. That like, but anyway, my point being, let's move on from the Germany-Switzerland border to the Germany-Austria border. So this border is fascinating because someone again wrote me a comment once, and it's a fairly widely known fact that Germany and Austria share a quad point border. Like, again, because there's no quad point borders in the world. However, someone said technically there's an ABAB border in terms of like Austria, Germany, Germany. And as you can see over here, there is a quad point border, is there not? Because this is Austria, this is Austria, this is Germany, this is Germany. Well, what if I said this is one of the thinnest points between two borders in the world? If I could check this somehow, I'd be sure it is. But
what the hell?
I haven't checked every border in the world to make sure, but I'm 95% certain, I'd make a full video if I was 100%, that this is the thinnest point between two borders in the world.
How short is the distance? Jesus.
This is Germany, and it's a 3-meter gap.
3-meter gap, bro? Damn, that's almost as small as the North and South Korea border, bro.
Let's show you the exact gap. It is a 4.5-meter gap between Germany and Germany again. So you can technically cross from this village in it's a fairly sized little part of Austria, but you can cross from this little part of Austria to the rest of Austria across a 5-meter gap. If you are wider than 5 meters, so your car is, you couldn't drive a car because it's a mountain, but if your vehicle of whatever form or your goat is more than 5 meters wide, I don't know how you get a 5-meter gap. My point being is you could like accidentally cross through Germany. If you're more than 5 meters wide, or like what you're carrying is more than 5 meters wide, it cannot cross from Austria.
Why the fuck would you be driving something that's 5 meters wide? Like, that's an aircraft, my guy.
Germany into Austria again, which I just find
even aircraft aren't that well. It depends on the aircraft. Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense.
A cool little fact.
Aircraft.
Also, most people from Austria in this part here, because it's a ski resort, would realistically drive anyway. You're not gonna walk up the mountain every time. But it's kind of cool, in my opinion, that there is a quad point, but not quite a quad point. It just looks like a quad point till you get right here. Border between Germany and Austria. So yeah, the rest of the border is fairly tame as a result. There's actually a practical exclave of Austria inside Germany. So as you can see right here, we've got, I believe it's just over here. So yeah, as you can see, this is Germany, this part going up here.
Like, you literally could, wait a minute, like, you could literally jump over a country. Well, true. That is true. Europe's not very big at all, bro. I could probably throw a rock from Germany into Switzerland. You know what I'm saying?
The borders between Germany and Austria are really kind of like, oh yeah, those mountains, because basically the Germany-Austria border had to be decided upon when the German states came together, and then they left Austria out for reasons. Long story. Not entirely certain of myself, but it means that Mittelberg over here is a practical exclave of Austria, because although it's on their side of the mountain kind of thing, it actually is not connected to the rest of Austria by any land route. Instead, you have to drive all the way around into Germany and then back into Austria. So again, fun little fact, might not have known. Sucks to be in Mittelberg, but they have nice ski resorts, so probably
Cold as hell, though.
equalizes there. So moving on from that, oops.
Hell yeah, man. Let's go. Search history vibes. Damn.
New tab, as you can see, Flickr, Reddit, AliExpress, all the good stuff. So, moving on from that, let's talk about the Germany, Austria, Czech border. This is the other try point you can visit. Again, I've never been here, but there's a
cool.
little mark point, and it's also it's got a 4.6 star review. So that's nice, I guess. And you could go visit the try
out of
point
5 or out of 10, because that could be
between
bad.
these 3 countries. And again, there's a little marking point there if you want to go see it. As you can see on this side, I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. So this is Germany on this side. That would be Austria on that side, and that would be the Czech Republic on the other side. And they've got like a tri-point memorial. Again, there's no like official land. You can't sit. Sorry, no like line on the board on the line on the land. You can just kind of sit like that. So there you go. Tri-point border. Germany and Czechia's border. Again, it's like, oh yeah. So that kind of causes wars if we talk about it too much. So I'll just say it follows like.
Zebillo says, I also have a thin border, the perennial border. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Again, not really too much for logical line. You see,
I
it
don't know
goes
what that is.
really jittery in and out here. Like, not even for like logical things. Like this road belongs to Germany, and then it just goes in and out like crazy. Again, this is a really thin point between 2 borders. Germany has a ridiculous number of those, where like this river belongs to Czechia, and they're not doing anything with it. Again, if you don't believe that, like here you can see, this is officially Czechian property. And what are they doing with it? I'm not really certain, but it exists, and that's nice, I guess. So,
damn.
Yeah, that's the border for the most part. Goes really zigzag.
Brain
out.
tired.
I'd love to tell you more about it.
This is a lot, man. I'm trying to process this shit. I got a half a brain cell that's like kind of into it, right? This man dumped so much shit on me right now, bro. I feel like I'm pretty much gonna graduate from this video with a PhD, bro. A PhD in geography studies, dog. Holy fuck. This guy talks a lot. This guy's whew. This really starts giving me pain. Yo, facts. Guess what's going on YouTube though? This video.
Border was agreed, and because Germans on one side, Czechians on the other, or like Bohemia is technically part of Czechia. But anyway, let's just agree to be like, okay, pretty weird border, loads of weird points. And then finally, you reach the Germany, Czechia, and Poland border, which is again in a river. Again, there was only 2 visitable points because they're all in rivers otherwise. And the Germany-Poland border is one that's really fascinating me because I didn't know this until recently. But this is, it's called the Oder-Neisse border. So it's because it follows roughly the river Oder, if I'm not mistaken.
The longer I watch the video, the more I realize how fucked up our border is. What the fuck? Yeah, it is pretty fucked up. I didn't even think to even look at the borders like that until I saw this video get recommended to me on YouTube. And I'm like, bro, Germany's borders is fucked up. God damn. God damn.
And then basically it's named after that because of the geographical land features. As you can see, the Oder River. There's a second Frankfurt, which isn't.
You want to speed this shit up?
Frankfurt.
Squad. All right. Settings. All right. 1.5. So.
And Oder, which means on the Oder, because it's on the Oder River, because this is the border between Germany and Poland. Fun fact. And then there's also the Neisse River. But my point being is that is how they determined the border between Germany and Poland. But Germany really, really doesn't like this border, and they only had to accept it when Germany reunified very begrudgingly. And the reasons for that, I'll try and say it fast, but I found this fascinating, is because Germany used to own pretty much all the way up to there. Like even some of Lithuania was German. Like Clypedia over here, this was a German-filled settlement. And even this part of Russia and Europe used to be German. It used to be I forgot the name, but it was part of like the Far East Russian thing. And yeah, basically all of this used to be Germany, and because of lots of things Germany did, they lost the land, and they actually forcibly resettled the Germans out there. So a lot of what is modern-day Poland was essentially German lands before, and they forced the Germans out there.
You can't understand anything now faster than Eminem. Facts. He should battle Eminem.
And again, I hope that's not a controversial retelling, but that's how it is, because as soon as World War II was over, they're like, well, we're not going to have any repetition of like Germans claiming their land because Germans live here. Oh, get out. So they expelled all the Germans from most of the way across Europe. Like, there's a bunch of Germans all over the place. And yeah, basically that means that the border from Germany and Poland was meant to be somewhere like over here. Like, Warsaw was a lot closer to the edge of the country. And as a result of, basically East Germany had to accept Poland's borders because they were both puppet states of the USSR. And as a condition of East Germany and West Germany reflying, Russia agreed not to, intervene in any way as long as Germany accepted the new Poland border. Which I mean, it's pretty cool of Russia to, step in like that and save Poland, even though Poland was leaving their sphere of influence. But I mean, from a Polish perspective, but it means that there's a semi-bitterness amongst the, Germans, like a little bit. It's probably going to die out as time goes on because this border, it should be way over there in some people's eyes, or like way over there in some people's eyes, or way over like there in some people's eyes, because Prussia went a lot further, and those lands were just taken and converted essentially, which is how, I guess how human populations happen.
You bet $5 that he will also talk about the Berlin Wall at the end. Oh my God.
To be able to expel someone from your lands, it's like
$5. Why $5? $5 as in five like
in some generations,
Volkswagens?
There are some people alive today that observe this. Same with the German-Danish border. So the very most northern state in Germany is called Schleswig-Holstein. I got that right. But it's the most northernmost state in Germany, or Bundesland, and basically it contains most of Schleswig and most of Holstein. And yeah, basically the reason this place is so interesting, because again you might be like, so why you mention that so again, is because a lot of people who live in this province, because it went back and forth between the Danish and Germans a few times, and the Danish aren't happy about it, the Germans aren't happy about it. They wish the border was further down here, the Germans wish the border was further up there, and basically as a result of that, there's some Germans living in the Danish part, and there's some Danish living over here. So this state of Germany, this Bundesland of Germany, actually has like 4 official languages. It's like German, but then it's got Danish as an official language, and also they speak Frisian, which is a Dutch language if I'm not mistaken, or it's mostly from the Netherlands. And it's just like a fun little fact that, like, they've got lots of languages going on here, and also some people I read about in like German subreddits are still bitter about this border, like, oh, let's go take the rest of Schleswig. And fun little fact you might not be aware of. So with that said,
wait a minute. In Germany, it's not allowed to recognize the old German border. Boom. Jellyfish. Here I'm learning everything about my country I never wanted to know. Oh my God.
I think I just spent 24 minutes talking about the borders of Germany, but that just goes to show, like, I tried to skim over that pretty quickly. I was like,
Bro, fuck, that was insane. Sorry about that, guys. Jesus Christ, that was a lot. That was a fucking lot. Holy goddamn.
Well, what a pleasure it is to see all of your beautiful faces at the end of this lovely video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sure you know, as I've mentioned in the past, we do have a Discord that's linked in the description down below, and we would love to have you a part of the world's greatest community ever, Bray Gang. Yes, if you've made it to this point in the video, you're officially a part of the community. So go ahead, join the Discord server. Link is in the description down below. And we also have other social media as well, like Instagram, Twitter. We're live. We go live on Twitch quite often as well. So it would behoove you to, go ahead and subscribe to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/JamesBrayGang. Join the cause and be a part of the greatest, literally the greatest community ever. Okay, it's simple. Just go ahead and do those little things. We're trying to grow on all these little platforms and everything, and it really means a lot. Now, I know you guys stumbled up across the channel and you're like, what does this guy post? Like, what kind of content does he post? Reactions, vlogs, pretty much whatever comes to my mind. All right, it's random content. I don't know what I'm gonna be posting 10 years from now, but I do know that you can stick along for the journey, and it really means a lot. Now, for every single person that subscribes and follows all of the accounts that I have made, and all the links will be in the description down below, that's an automatic entry for any future giveaways I decide to have. I'll remind you when the giveaways take place, but you'll be surprised what I will be giving away because you guys have supported me so much up to this point, and it's only right that I do the same thing back. Thank you guys so much for being amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.